These things I have spoken to you while I am still with you. But the Counselor, the Holy Spirit, whom the Father will send in my name, He will teach you all things and bring to your remembrance all that I have said to you. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. Not as the world gives do I give you. Let not your hearts be troubled, neither let them be afraid. You heard me say to you, I go away, and I will come to you. If you loved me, ye would have rejoiced, because I go to the Father, for the Father is greater than I. And now I have told you before it takes place, so that when it does take place, you may believe. I will no longer talk much with you, for the ruler of this world is coming. He has no power over me, but I do as the Father has commanded me, so that the world may know that I love the Father. Rise, let us go hence.
And Jesus then leads them out of the upper room, and they proceed on their way toward the Garden of Gethsemane. They've been in the major part of Jerusalem, which is on the west bank, you might say, of the cliff which forms the west wall of the valley of Jehoshaphat here, through which runs the brook Kidron, past the Garden of Gethsemane, and then on down past the Mount of Olives. On the way, Jesus is talking. He calls himself the true vine. In chapter 15, he calls his Father the vine dresser, the husbandman. And he speaks about the process of pruning. In the King James, it's sometimes called purging. That actually means pruning, cutting away the unprofitable part of the plant in order that the profitable part of the plant may be more productive. When I was a boy growing up in northwest Missouri, there was no part of my father's equipment more fascinating to me than a long pole which had a little lever on the bottom of it and a little snipper on the top which was activated by a lever. And my father could stand at the foot of an apple tree on the ground and reach up 8-10 feet above his head and take a twig of the apple tree, and by pulling this little lever, cut it off by remote control. He was simply doing what Jesus said that God does to every one of us. There are unwanted, unneeded, wasteful branches in us, taking nourishment and food, time and money, and God snips them off. But let's read about it in verse 2 down through verse 6, please.
Every branch of mine that bears no fruit, he takes away. And every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes, that it may bear more fruit. Ye are already made clean by the word which I have spoken to you. Abide in me, and I in you. For apart from me ye can do nothing. If a man does not abide in me, he is cast forth as a branch and withers, and the branches are gathered, thrown into the fire, and burned. If ye abide in me, and my words abide in you, ask whatever you will, and it shall be done for you. By this my Father is glorified, that you bear much fruit, and so prove to be my disciples. As the Father has loved me, so have I loved you. Abide in my love. If you keep my commandments, you will abide in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commandments and abide in his love. These things have I spoken to you, that my joy may be in you, and that your joy may be full.
Here Jesus connects two things which are very often not considered together at all, and that is commandments and joy. To a great many people, joy is incompatible with commandments. Commandments they count as restrictive, and joy as freedom. The fact of the matter is that it's quite different. The astronauts made it to the moon and back because they exercised no freedom. By thoroughly obeying, with no variation, all the laws which we call natural laws, the laws of gravity, of inertia, and the other ones which are involved in their flight, by absolutely conforming and obeying to the last fraction exactly what those so-called laws demanded, they made it there and they made it back. Their joy came out of their obedience to commandments. If a person can reach the moon and back by absolutely obeying instructions and carrying out what he's told to do, it might be that a man in this world will reach where he's going or should go much better if he will carry out the commandments which God has given to him. And Jesus says here that if we take those commandments and carry them out and carry out the will of God and allow God to prune us and to cleanse us and to take away the undesirable undergrowth from our lives, that in the end, that we will enjoy the same things that Jesus does. Now, one of the things which is involved in companionship is agreement on pleasures. If a young man is going with a girl and she loves to go to formal music concerts, which he does not like, he prefers to go to ball games, which she does not like, they're going to find it difficult to remain much interested in each other because they need mutual interests and mutual experiences to hold their friendship together. One of the real ways that we can tell whether or not a person is a Christian is whether or not he likes a thing that Jesus likes. If we get joy out of the same things, pleasure out of the same things, if what pleases God pleases us, then we're godly. If what pleases us is not what pleases God, then we're ungodly. Simple as that. Because godlik, godlike, godlikeness, godliness, all the same thing. That L-I and L-I-K-E and L-I-C-H, all the same thing. It's godlikeness, godliness. We must like what God likes. And our joy will be what His joy was. All right, let's pick up again now in verse 12 through verse 17 on the matter of love between believers.
This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. Greater love has no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. You are my friends, if you do what I command you. No longer do I call you servants, for the servant does not know what his master is doing. But I have called you friends, for all that I have heard from my Father, I have made known to you. You did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you, that you should go and bear fruit, and that your fruit should abide, so that whatever you ask the Father in my name, He may give it to you. This I command you, to love one another.
Three things here. The first one is that we have no option on loving. We are not invited to love. We're not advised to love. We're not counseled to love. We are commanded to love. The person who does not love is disobedient, just as truly as if he disobeyed any other commandment of God. In the second place, that this love may go as far, in some cases, as requiring the life of the lover in order to carry this out. And especially this is true of Jesus, for whom His love cost Him His life on our behalf. In verse 15 is a principle that Jesus received His ideas from the Father. And there's that great verse we referred to previously in which Jesus said, I do only what I see the Father doing. And if we will watch God and see what He's doing and take part in this and see where the Spirit of God is moving, this is where the action is. And again, He says in verse 16 that we were chosen of God. The Spirit of God came and dealt with us and chose us. And the purpose of His choosing is not that we should just be personally saved, but that we should go and bear fruit. And this fruit should abide.